Hello and welcome to this tutorial. We are halfway through our data preprocessing phase. In our previous tutorials, we learned how to import the dataset. We also learned how to take care of missing data. And today, we are going to learn how to encode categorical data in R. First, I'm going to explain why we need to do this. So here I am in RStudio, and I'm going to take a look at our dataset. In our dataset, we can see that we have two categorical variables. We have the categorical variable country here, and we have the categorical variable purchased here. These two are categorical variables because they contain categories. The country variable has three categories, which are Netherlands, Switzerland, and France, while the purchased variable has two categories, which is no and yes. Since machine learning models are based on mathematical equations, you can intuitively understand that having text from these two categorical variables would cause some problems in our equations. We would only want to have numeric values in our equations. So that's why we need to encode the text in our categorical variables into numbers. That is what we are going to do in this tutorial. We are going to encode these two variables, country and purchased, into numeral values. Encoding categorical variables in R is much more simple than it is in other programming languages such as Python. This is because we are going to use something very practical in R, and that is the factor function. The factor function will transform your categorical variables into numeric categories, but will still see the variables as factors, and you will be able to choose the labels for those factors, of course. For this specific reason, we will need to create a column for each category. And we are going to start with the country column. We will transform the country column into a column of factors and specify what these factors are going to be. So we just need to take the country column, and to do this we just type dataset $country is equal to, and then we use the factor function, so factor, and in the factor function we are going to specify three things. So let's have a look at the factor function. To do this, we just click on F1. So this contains some info about the factor function. Let's have a look at the arguments that go into the factor function. The first argument is the data that we want to transform into factors, and this is of course going to be the country column from our dataset. So parenthesis dataset $country, comma, then the second parameter is the levels, and that is the names of the categories in our country column. So here let's add levels is equal to, so we are going to write the vector of levels here, so C parenthesis, and then we will input here our three categories, and so that's Netherlands, Switzerland, and France. Note that the names are written in single quotes. Alright. Note that the C here is a vector in R. So by creating this C, Netherlands, Switzerland, and France, we are creating a vector of three elements. There is Netherlands, there is Switzerland, and there is France. And enter. And the last argument that we need to input here is the labels. We want to choose which number we want to give to Netherlands, to Switzerland, and to France. So we are going to add here labels is equals to C parenthesis, and since we transformed our country categorical variables into factors, we can use any numbers we like here. So I'm just going to use 1 for Netherlands, 2 for Switzerland, and 3 for France. And that's it. Okay, so the encoding of the country categorical variables is ready. It is that simple. So before selecting and executing this code, let's have a look at our dataset, and we can see that the country variable here is written in text. Let's go back here, select the code, and then press Command or Control plus Enter to execute. And now if we look at our dataset, we will see that the text has been replaced with numeric values. Where we had Netherlands here, now it has been replaced with 1, Switzerland has been replaced with 2, and France has been replaced with 3. Perfect. Now we need to do the same for the purchased column. It is going to be exactly the same. We are going to use the factor function to transform the text in the purchased category into numeric labels. So let's do it right now. We just need to copy this and then paste it there, and then we just replace country with purchased. Like that. Same for here, we need to change the levels because there are new categories now. The levels are going to be no and yes. Just change that into no. Yes. We're going to remove that. And of course now we need to change the labels. So I'm going to give 0 to no, and I'm going to give 1 to yes. I think that makes the most sense. And that's it. Let's just save our work. Okay, that's ready. Let's look at our data set. The purchased column contains no and yes. And now if we execute our code and have a look at our data set again, and you can see that no and yes have now been replaced by 0 and 1 respectively. Perfect. We're all good. We've encoded our data. Now you know everything that there is to know about encoding categorical data in R. We are almost done with our data preprocessing phase. We are approaching the fun and exciting part about making models. Hang on for one or more tutorials, and this is going to get very exciting. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial, and until then, enjoy machine learning.